I'm a realtor here from Iron Valley. I've been here since 2020. I think that's when they first opened the office. So I'm here to talk about listing for sale by owners and expires. So why is prospecting important, right? So I've been in and out of business since 2004. The last time I got back into the business, I had relatives that were realtors. I didn't really have any, people that I knew that knew I was back into real estate, so I really didn't have any prospects. Sitting around waiting for people to call you doesn't really work, right? Yeah, so the only thing I could do was be proactive and start prospecting. I felt like I really didn't have a choice. So I just dove right into it, even though, who likes cold calling? Nobody, right? But I think that if you prepare yourself, with certain things, I think you can get to the point where it becomes comfortable for you. So some of the reasons. Prospecting, I believe, is the best way to get listings, other than your sphere of influence, okay? There's no, like Zillow, Realtor.com, there's no other service out there that's really giving seller leads. It just doesn't exist. They haven't figured out how to do it. So I think the only and the best way to do it is to call people or door knock. I don't do door knocking. I think just calling on the phone is a lot more effective. The income possibilities are amazing. So it's like you can literally make as much as you want, as long as you're willing to sit down, stick to the plan and do the calls. I think you can make as much money as you want in this business. Another reason is those leads turn into long-term clients. So all those people that I cold call right now, they're sending me referrals, they're coming back to me for repeat business. So it just snowballs into more and more leads. As well. And then, of course, listings give you even more free leads because a lot of the clients that I got called me off my for sale side. A lot of people call me off my for sale side. A lot of times, even when I'm pending or under contract, they'll call and say, hey, is this still available? Like, no, it's not available, but I can help you find something else, can we meet tomorrow? And then that becomes my client. So it's just really, I just feel like it's just the best way to get leads. Good quality leads as well. So starting with expireds. Expireds are good. They're like the low-hanging fruit because they've already worked with realtors. So they are already open to working with realtors, right? A lot of times, the reason why it didn't sell, the reason why it expired is because of the price. So basically, you just have to show them what you can do to help them sell their home, this time around. And the best opening line for expireds is, are you still accepting offers on this property when you call them? So that's a good opening line. So I have scripts here that I'm going to go. Basically, when you call, does anybody want to practice this with me or do this with me? Anybody want to volunteer?
I can do it.
Okay.
Can I share this?
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
All right, ring.
So.
You just say hi.
Hi.
Hey, may I speak with Sarah?
This is.
Hey, Sarah. My name is Monica. I'm a local real estate professional in your area, and I'm sure you're aware that your listing on your home's already canceled. But I was just calling to see if your home on Elm Street is still available by chance.
It is.
Okay.
Go
Go ahead.
Do you have a buyer that's interested?
Well, that's a great question. We might seem, we'll sell about 80 homes this year. So when this home does sell, when do you plan on going to next?
That's exciting. I am not quite sure.
Okay, well, what motivated you to move in the first place?
I am looking to relocate.
Okay. Well, great. I was calling because I do specialize in homes that other agents fail to sell. And if you'd be open to meeting with me, I'd love to share with you maybe why your home didn't sell and what could cause your home to potentially sell this time around. Would you be open to meeting with me tomorrow at 2 or 4 p.m.?
Sure, that would be great. Do you want me to ask what's your commission? Is that something
Well,
that you
just,
expect of?
you don't have to go through this, just
Mhm.
like, just answer however you want to answer. So,
Okay, well, that would be great.
okay. All right, so she was very easy. They're not, they're not really that easy. So what's really important is role play. So I have a partner that I role play with, because I use Vulcan system. So we role play every morning before I make my calls, and we go through the objections and we practice what to say if there are objections. So that's very important if you want to dive into prospecting on a regular basis. Make sure you have a role play partner and just practice, because you're going to get different types of objections, and you want to be able to quickly come back with, how you want to answer it.
I'm curious to
Yeah.
know, what is your answer to the commission part?
Well, I'd love to discuss that with you. I have some plans, different plans that you probably will find favorable, and I'll discuss that with you tomorrow when we meet. How's that sound?
Do you have another sheet with those plans, so we,
What do they want to know right
we want,
away?
we want to know
Like
like
what I got, like they're gonna be like, well, my person gave me a 2%, and
Well, I always try to deflect it, and usually they'll say, okay, I'll go over with that with you tomorrow, no problem, I'll lay everything out and I have all the details for you. Usually they'll say fine, but if they really, really insist, I'll just go ahead and tell them. And so the standard in the industry is 6%, but I can go over with you tomorrow exactly what that includes, and I think you'll be very happy with what I can show you. Something like that, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions?
Do you ever offer to negotiate that?
I do. Yeah, I do. But I try not to do that on the phone because it's just to get the appointment, get in front of them, and I will negotiate with them. I'm not hard, sticking to 6% because I know most people do 5%, right? So, I know lately though, most people have been accepting 6%. So. It's been fine, but there are those people, especially FSBOs. FSBOs are the ones that are gonna not want to pay 6%. Actually, they never want to pay 6%. So with those, it's usually 5%. I've done 4% with a FSBO, but he gave me 3 properties, and of course, I'm not gonna say no to that. So yeah. So it's just with that person, and I try not to talk about it on the phone. I try to say, hey, I'll go over everything with you tomorrow, no problem. And usually they're okay with it.
So the point of the conversation is to get in front of them.
Exactly. Just to get that appointment, get in front of them, that's the point of the whole thing.
Do you have a lot of people that don't want to, meet with you in person?
Yeah, there are people that you're not going to convince no matter what. So I just say next, I'm not going to keep beating them up. I'm just going to say, okay, thank you for your time.
But you don't have the conversation on the phone if they don't want to meet in person. You just kind of move on to the next one?
Like if they say, no, I don't want to meet with you, or...
Yeah, if they say, like, I'll listen to more information on the phone, but I don't want to meet with you in person yet.
Okay.
Then what do you do?
Are you open to meeting with me in the future?
Okay.
Okay, great. So why don't I do this? Why don't I call you in about 2 weeks and see where you're at, and then we can set something up then.
Okay.
So then I'll just put in my calendar to call them in 2 weeks.
You don't really have that conversation on the phone, you just meet with them in a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Plus, once you get them there, I know that you show them why you're worth 6%. And all the
Exactly.
things that you're gonna do for them,
Yeah.
you're worth at 6%.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like you said, the main thing is to get them there.
Just get in front of them.
Yep,
Because then you can do your whole presentation and all of that.
yep.
And if you do everything right, and like I said, even if you get it at 5%, to me, that's still a success. That's still a win. So
Yep.
yeah. But I always will try 6% first. I'll just. Okay, and then so I just practice this, and a lot of times you just kind of the opening line is always important because all of this is just to get the appointment. Okay, so don't worry about saying the wrong thing it's just building a rapport, getting them comfortable with you. They're listening to your voice. They're getting your vibe, they're getting your energy. And if they're like, okay, this person sounds like they really want to help me and they're not trying to sell me or take advantage of me, then they'll be like, okay, well, why don't you stop by tomorrow? But if you're trying to sell and trying to sound like a salesperson, you're never going to get an appointment. It's not going to happen. So for me, it's just like coming forward with the attitude of I'm just here to help you. If I can't help you, fine. if you wanna do it, fine, I'm not like trying to force, or try to pressure or anything like that.
Do you keep the conversation super professional, or do you try to get to know them as well?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I'm like, I try to be friendly and, like one of the person I cold call was like, I chose you because I could tell from your voice that you really want to help, like you genuinely want to help me. And that's why I decided to go with you. So, I think it's a little bit of both. Just sound genuine, authentically, like sound like you want to help. We're not here to try to take advantage of anyone. I'm not here to try to take advantage. If I can help you, fine. If not, that's fine. That's my attitude, Because automatically, if you're a realtor, people are going to think you want to take advantage of them. That's just how they feel. They have a wall. You're going to try to sell me. You're trying to take my money. That's how they feel. So you have to like try to get their walls down. And that takes practice. And and also your tone and all of that. You kind of have to. It's a skill that you have to develop. Yeah. So, so FSBOs are, I think they're a little more difficult to work with because they're just so resistant to realtors. That's the reason why they're on Zillow in the first place, is because they don't think they need a realtor. They think it's a waste of money to use a realtor. They think they can do everything on their own. So our job is to educate them, like why is it going to be a benefit to use me? If I can bring you the money that you're looking for, your net amount, you don't have to lift a finger, I'll do all the work and still bring you the amount that you want. Would you be open to working with a realtor? And they're like, well, how can you do that? Well, great, let me show you. I would love to meet with you tomorrow. How does that sound? Okay, something like that. Because to them, it's just the money, it's the bottom line. So you want to tell them, like, I can get you that money using me, and you don't have to answer the phone, you don't have to deal with lowball offers. I'm sure you're getting lowball offers, right? Yeah, how'd you know? Because they're always getting lowball offers, the first time buy lenders. So, that's a good way to come to them. Let's talk about the money and say, I can get you that money with using me as well. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes FSBOs are so unrealistic because they price it so high that honestly, I just pass those up, because if their house is worth, let's say, $400,000 and they're like asking for $520, there's no way I can make that work. So I'm not even calling that person. You know what I mean?
It's something you look at like comps first before you.
I do a quick, so when I do, because I use Vulcan for my prospecting, so I look at it, and then I have another tab open for Zillow, so I quickly just look at
what's the estimate.
What the estimate, and then I have my MLS tab open, and then I quickly just do a quick search to see like what the other homes around are selling for. And if they're trying to sell for $520 and everything else in the neighborhood is like $400, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
What is like an amount that you look for? Like if it's a $50,000 difference or $100,000 difference, do you have like an idea?
Because like, let's say they have it for $450, let's say, and I'm like, okay, so, you configure what your commission would be and the closing costs, and I use Modern Titles, like they have like a seller's net calculator that I use that to see what their net would be, so I can be like, this is what your net would be. Would you be interested in working with me if I got you this net?
Okay, what program is that?
Modern Title has like a web page where there's like, you could just put the number and they'll estimate the closing cost, commissions, and then what they would be left with. Yeah, so if I have that information, I'll say, hey, this is what your net would be after, working with me, and if that number works for them, I'm like, okay, I don't have to do anything, and you'll do everything. Yeah, I'll do everything. You don't even have to answer your phone, for interested people. And a lot of them, like, the first week they're getting all these calls. By the second week, they're like tired because all these people are calling them and they're not giving them the offers that they want. So there's a point where they actually want somebody else to take over, Yeah. So it's also good to call FSBOs when they've been on the market for about a month, because it's like they're already kind of like exhausted. Yeah.
Well, I think stressing that you have a team behind you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Really helps, because then
I have a
all
transaction
these
coordinator.
eyes that
Yeah.
you know, people that are looking, so
Right.
that really helps.
Exactly. Yeah, so
I have a quick question. If you see a for sale by owner and it's listed live, would you, you talk scripts, would you ever go in there and say, or call them and say that you have a client that may be interested and to introduce, to break the ice a little bit, to say that you're a realtor and blah, blah?
Wait,
or-
it's not-
Well, like make believe right now you see for sale by owner.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever done this or even if it should be done, but, and you see it for sale by owner, but it's been for like over a month or whatnot. Would you ever call them and say, hey, you know, I'm selling to the real estate and I have a client maybe interested in your blah, blah, just to break the ice?
So I don't do that because, and this is also the reason why I don't work with
Mhm.
ISAs, because that's what ISAs call to get appointments for you, the ones that you hired.
Mhm.
They'll say, hey, you know, what if we can bring you a buyer? Can we meet with you tomorrow? And then if they think you're bringing a buyer, but you're really there to list.
What if you want a buyer? Like,
Well, I mean,
what
if
you? Wait, we staged the script.
What was that?
Stage a buyer.
We're afraid you're gonna drag your laptop.
Wait, stage the buyer, no, okay, like, maybe it's, no, it's New York role, that means no.
In the beginning, I did do that a few times. To be honest.
It'll bite you more times than it'll
Yeah, I
help
did
you.
a few times,
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's almost like,
but I don't do it anymore because when you go there, like making them think you have a buyer but you don't, and then you're really trying to list, they're not going to trust you. They're going to say, oh, you try to lie to me, and where's your buyer?
well, we always bring in buyers that don't buy.
They're probably not going to want to list with
Mm.
you either because,
Right.
you know, if they don't want to feel like, if they feel like you're tricking them.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
so
even-
I don't do that anymore because I did do that in the beginning, and I did get a listing out of it, but he did feel like he was like, you kind of tricked me, but you know, it worked, but I just don't like doing that now. I like going knowing that they know that I'm going there to list.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I got you.
But I
Thank
mean, hey, if you want to do it, that's fine.
Well, I'm just saying, I've been taking people around all the time, driving them around, oh, yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, if I just took that same person and took them to her house she don't want, maybe that would
Yeah.
pay for my gas that I'm spending
But
driving
in the
around.
beginning, I was like, I didn't care. I would just try to get the appointment. I would say, I have a buyer, and I would go. But yeah, but then I felt like people were kind of
Yeah.
not being turned off by that, so I just
I gotcha.
don't do it anymore. Yeah. So you're my Pismo, Sarah.
Oh god, okay. I sucked at it. So should I be nice or not nice? I guess.
Whatever you want, yeah.
Okay.
So ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this Sarah?
It is.
Hi, Sarah. Is the house on Elm Street still available?
It is still available.
Hey, listen, I'm sure you got tons of realtors already calling you, but I'm just calling to see if you might be interested in looking at some other options if you're not able to sell this on your own.
I'm not really sure. I'm not really interested in paying for commissions at the moment.
Okay, I understand. What if I brought you $415,000 after paying commissions? Is that something you might be interested in?
I'm a little more interested. How can you guarantee that?
Well, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick market analysis for you, take a quick look at your home and make sure we have all the details we need. When would you be available for a quick home tour? Would tomorrow at 2 p.m. be good or at 4 p.m. be better?
2 p.m. would be great.
Awesome, see you tomorrow. I mean, it's longer, a little longer than that, but that's kind of like the gist of it.
So do you run numbers at their house? Yeah, because you're
No,
talking
well,
about.
not, well, I'll prepare a market analysis before the meeting, and then I'll bring my whole presentation at the meeting and go over it with them.
Do you do the market analysis before you call them, just to have it in your head, like the
Like I told you earlier, I have my screens up, and I'll just do a quick, it's very quick, just like a general. I'm like, okay, well, I think I can get them 415 after paying commission, so I'll call them with that information. And then maybe if I'm off, I'll go there tomorrow and I'll say, well, actually, a little more realistic, probably 410. How does that sound? You know? So if maybe I'm off and I did the analysis and it was a little off, I'll let them know at the appointment. Yeah.
Or they had 4 90-pound dogs that you didn't know about when you got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. What do you do if they ask, if like they tell you that they have like stuff done to the house?
Well, that's great. I would love to take a look at it tomorrow when I see them. Yeah. We can probably at it. So this, yeah, and then, so the best opening line for FSBOs is, are you open to looking at other options if you're not able to sell this on your own? Because a lot of times they'll say, well, I want to do it on my own right now, but I don't know, check back with me in 3 weeks. So I'll check back with them, you know, so. And a lot of times some people you'll just never get, but, you know, some people you will get.
Is it more about the long game then? Like, you won't always say maybe the first phone call, but you just
Right.
keep calling back and
Yeah, if they say call me in 2
eventually sell
weeks,
it.
yeah. So I'll just put a reminder to call me in 2 weeks. If they say, well, you know, I'm not ready, try me again next week, I'll try them again next week. Until they say, oh no, it's already sold, then I don't know, you know. Yeah.
So it's more about like quantity of the amount of people you call, how like a long game list of I'm gonna call these people throughout this
Yeah, it's just
weekend.
consistent follow-up with them,
Consistency.
yeah. So, because a lot of times they will, you know, keep saying, oh, you know, call me next week, try me again 2 weeks, try me again then. So, you know, you just keep trying till you get it.
And consistent calling.
Exactly.
Initial calling.
Yeah.
You schedule, like, I don't know how you do it, maybe every day you spend an hour or 2 hours on it, or certain times of the week.
Yeah.
You gotta be consistent. definitely.
Yeah, and that's where KV Core comes in. It's KV Core allows you to put in the contact. If they say call in 2 weeks, I'll put in the contact and do a reminder for me to call them in 2 weeks. Because I'm not going to be able to remember all of this if I don't have some sort of a system to remind me. So that's a good way to utilize KV Core, is to put all the reminders for all the contacts that you need to call back.
Do you call like an hour every day? Or do you call every other day? Or what is your schedule look like?
Yeah, so I go through phases. I'm actually trying to get more consistent with the prospecting. I was telling Sarah, because I know I could do like so much more production but I just got so bogged down with like my pending deals that I kind of stopped doing it for a bit. But once I get back into it, that brings me to the schedule. I think that's next.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was.
No worries. That's a good question. Well, I'll get to that after
We'll
that.
get to it.
But, so this is the type of services you can use for expireds, FSBOs, also neighborhood prospecting. So if you sold a property in a neighborhood, you can pull up all the homes around it with any of these systems and call them and say, hey, I just sold the property on so-and-so street. And I have even more buyers who want to live in this neighborhood. It's a hot neighborhood. Do you know anyone that's looking to sell in the next 3 months? And, so that one also is good because they'll say, well, I'm not, maybe 6 months, I was thinking about it, and then you can put that in your CRMs, call, if they say 6 months, call them in 5 months. If they say 2 weeks, call them in 1 week, So that's.
Because they'll listen the next day.
Yeah, so you're just putting everything in your database, putting dates, and notes, and it's kind of just collecting all this data. And that's why the CRM is very important. So I use Vulcan. I think Vulcan has really, really good accurate phone numbers and things like that. So I've been using them. But there's other ones. I know Noah uses RedX. If you're looking for something inexpensive, I started out with My Plus Leads. You can get all the leads. The only thing is it doesn't have a dialer. So, but it's the cheapest one, and you can get all the same information that you would get with the other ones. If you don't want to spend anything on lead systems, you could go to Zillow. There's like a FSBO, special FSBO area on Zillow. And, all the FSBOs have phone numbers, so you can just call them directly. So you don't have to spend any money. I know some people have gone into the MLS and just pulled up the expires and then just look up their numbers manually. But that's, that takes a lot of time, so it's kind of good to use one of these services because you just have all the information there. Yeah. Okay. So this is the prospecting schedule that I use. So basically 8 a.m. practice scripts, role play with a partner. 8:30 to 9:30, I do 1 hour FSBOs, 1 hour expireds. I take a break, and then I try to do neighborhood prospecting or follow up with my TV Corp contacts that have, you know, appointments that I need to follow up with. And then I always schedule my listing appointments in the afternoon, so I never schedule anything in the morning. I always do it for the afternoon because I want to reserve the mornings for prospecting and calling. So I always say 2 or 4, 2 or 4, 2 or 4. I mean, unless of course they're like, well, I can only do 7, you know, obviously I'll do it, but I always do my appointments in the afternoon, and my errands or any doctor's appointments. I never do my doctor's appointments in the morning because I always want to reserve that for prospecting.
Is that because that's like the best time to call people?
Yeah, I mean, some people also call in the afternoon, like, you know, 4 to 6 or something. I've done that before, but it's just, yeah, I think the morning is a good time to call people.
Have more successful conversations.
But if you don't get anything in the morning, you can call them in the afternoon, or if you prefer afternoons, you can set your schedule however you want. So like, let's say you have another job and you work in the morning, you can set your prospecting for, you know, 3 to 6 or something. I mean, you'll still get, you know, a lot of response that way.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah.
I see you have neighborhood prospecting. How would you prospect a neighborhood that you live in, that there's millions of houses all around you? How would you do something like that?
In your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Vulcan, there's, they have a feature, so you put the address, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll grab, like, let's say you put your address and then you put like 10 miles around, or
Okay.
1 mile around you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll grab all the numbers and addresses from 1 mile around you in a radius. Or you could set the polygon to just a certain.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, and then it'll
So
give you.
Vulcan 7?
Vulcan 7 or any, there's, you know, I know, you use PropStream, right? He uses PropStream,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty good information.
Good.
Yeah.
Prop 2?
Prop stream.
Prop 2?
No, prop stream. PROPSTREAM.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
And there's some features in prop stream where it'll give you the market value right out as soon as you pull it up on the screen. So if you click on the link, it pulls it up, gives you all the information you want, including the current market value at least close to. So and then I compare that to an RPR or, you know, we'll do
Thank you.
a local search on that. So I'm not trying to take your.
oh, no,
I just-
All right, thank you.
no, totally fine. I mean, I was actually curious about that, because I know you were.
I love prop stream.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. You can dump your entire expired list into prop stream, and and then do a skip trace.
Yeah.
Skip trace 500 at a time.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then you just dump it into the KV Core spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Put the spreadsheet right into the KV Core, and it uploads it right in KV Core.
Yeah,
So.
okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my, okay, so this is a very simple real estate success plan. If you have an average home price of $375,000, which I think is maybe a little bit below the average in Orlando, your average commission check at 2.5% is $9,375. You would need 16 sales a year to make $150,000. That's at that listing price, right? So they figure it's like 100 calls for one successful listing, right? That's like what everybody in the industry says. But I'm just gonna put like 200 per month, just to kind of give a little bit more. So if you talk to 10 people per day, like 10 conversations about real estate every day, that would pretty much guarantee that you would get at least 1.3 listings per month at $150,000 salary per year. So that could be like just calling your sphere and say, hey, we haven't spoken in a while, I just want to remind you, real estate hi, I'll be here if you need me, call me anytime, just even calling your friends, your family, because a lot of people probably don't know you're in real estate, right? I mean, they might see you on social media. When you do a personal call, I think it has a lot more weight, So yeah, just for me, I just try to have 10 conversations per day about real estate with either friends, family, people I don't know, anybody. Yeah. So I mean, I probably hit my goal 5th month of this year. I mean, yeah, 5th month 5 of this year. So I'm doing, so I'm changing my goals now. Yeah. So it's good to track your numbers and just, if you just tell yourself like, I'll talk to 10 people today, and that's not that many, Yeah, yeah. And social media is good, but personal calls are a lot more effective than social media.
Are they all successful phone calls? Is that how you judge it? Or is it like 10 people hung up on you today?
No, not hung up, conversations. Yeah.
Well, not actual conversations.
Even if they say call me in 3 months, that's a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically, there's no secret really, it's just actually doing it and just talking to people. It is a lot of rejection, I'm not gonna lie, and do I look forward to it? No, probably not. But I have to hack my brain, I have to meditate, like I have to, it's a lot of, it's really you, like a battle with yourself. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because there's so much resistance, there's so many things I can distract myself
You
with.
can think of 1,000 things to do.
Yeah, like let me do my admin, I have to do this admin because like I can put that off. I do that to myself all the time because your body doesn't want to go through it. But if you actually stick to that schedule without fail and prospect and make the calls, even if you do 2 hours a day, or even just start with 1 hour a day, or half an hour a day, just do it consistently every day, you're gonna get results, for sure. Yeah.
Do you do it on the weekends too?
No, I don't do it. I take time off with my kids. So, yeah. But some people like to do it, but I don't. Yeah.
Do you do buyers as well, or you only stick to listings?
I focus on listings. Buyers come to me naturally. So from my sign calls or from my sellers that want to buy something, I don't search for buyers. I only search for listings, and then the buyers just come organically. Yeah.
Well, and you had that listing that the next door neighbor listed with you too, right?
Yeah, so I got a listing from cold calling, and then the neighbor called me and said, "Oh, we want to sell her." So, and that was just like, so I'm like, this is too easy. What's the But so I listed that, and then another neighbor in that neighborhood called. We have like 3 listings in that neighborhood, and and that's just from one listing. So that happens because they see your sign and they don't know who to call, and they're thinking about selling, so they just call you. So.
Do you call any listings that they're not expired yet, but they've been on they're like 200 days or something like that?
You're not allowed.
Or are you not allowed?
I don't know what the rules are, but I just I think the Vulcan can go as far back as 6 months. But if you want to go even further, you'd have to go to the MLS. I don't know what the rules are.
I think there's a compliance problem. So
Yeah.
I don't think you can be calling those people.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to wait till it expires.
Yeah. They've obviously got a realtor.
Yeah. But they're not. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think 6 months would be the maximum. I think that's, more than that would probably be too long. Yeah.
Do you have more slides? I don't want to ask a question.
No.
Okay. Once you get the listing, what are some of the things that you do that make different from other people that help make it a successful listing and sell it quicker?
After I get the listing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what do? I give it to you.
Well, like, do you do anything with marketing or with the social media? Do you do anything to help get the word of mouth out there? Yeah, do you just list it and that's it?
No, I listed, it's obviously put all over social. I put it on my social media. Sometimes I'll do the KV Core advertisement where you boost it for like $60, and then it really pushes it out there. I I mean, if I have a client that's looking in that area, I always push my listings first. Like if I go by or say, oh, well, I have one in Claremont, you know, are you okay with living in Claremont? So I'm always pushing it to people that are looking for homes. But I think the MLS indicates it, you know, I mean, it gives it a lot of exposure. But yeah, I mean, I do tell my clients about my listings.
Is that, because you have quite a few that you represent both sides, is that what happens? You already have them and you suggested it to them and they, or was it somebody that didn't have an agent and just called and said, hey, I'm
Yeah, that was a sign call. So that's another good thing about your signs is because, you know, you can get both sides on your listings.
So is having a sign really makes a difference?
Absolutely, yeah. So they'll call you on the morning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
What about in your listing presentation? I know Troy did a whole segment on it. Was there anything special that you do when you go and sit with them after you've done your script and you've said, well, I'm going to give you this great presentation? Is there anything that you specifically do?
I just, you know, when I arrive there, the first thing I do is ask them to show me the house, because then that makes them comfortable with me, because they're kind of like going through the house and they're kind of probably trying to read you, trying to see if they trust you, trying to see what kind of person you are. So I always ask them to show me the house first, and we go through the whole house and we get comfortable, and then we sit down and I introduce myself, tell them a little bit about myself, and you know, just try to build rapport, try to make them comfortable as much as you can, and then go through the presentation. So for me, it's not as much as what you say, because everyone can have the same presentation, but it's really building the comfort level, you know, with each other, because they're asking themselves, do I want to work with this person, or do I trust this person, or is this the kind of person I want to work with? So the words are fine, but that's secondary to me.
Do you build that rapport by complimenting their house, or like,
Yeah.
how do you make them feel, you personally, how do you make them feel comfortable?
Yeah, just having a conversation, how many kids you have? Oh, I have 2 kids too, how old are they? Oh, what school do they go to? You know.
More personal stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just all about business.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
And that really helps people seem to say like that they wanted to listen to you because of that.
Yeah, I mean, the people that have given me feedback, the one thing that they say is, oh, okay, yeah, I trust you. Like, they feel like they can trust me. So, and I'm not doing that. And I'm not pretending that, you know, trying to act like something so they can trust me. You just act like yourself.
Genuine.
Because like you're pretty laid back, and you probably are somebody I would really trust just by seeing how you act and how you know. So it's, you know, it's just being yourself and just try not, you don't have to put on all these bells and whistles. You can just interact on a human to human level. Yeah. So.
Do you notice, is it harder to sell when they're in communities where you can't put your sign out?
Say that again?
When you can't put your sign out in the communities that don't allow it, is it a little longer to sell that way, or is it
I haven't found that.
No?
I haven't found that. We actually have one tomorrow going live that doesn't allow signs because of the neighborhood. But I just think that most of the showings requests that we get are from online.
Okay.
I mean, once in a while you'll have a neighbor, but then a lot of times a neighbor will call and say, hey, I saw that on Zillow that my neighbor, so they'll see it too. You know? Yeah. You know. And especially in like small communities where not a lot of people drive through there, so I don't think it's.
In your presentation, besides the, as far as your marketing style, do you propose doing open doors prior to? How many open houses do you provide in your different packages? Like, you know, for example, if it's 6%, then we'll do 3 open houses. If we do 5%, then, you know, we'll do 2 open houses.
So I don't really have, and I know some people have that.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to using that, yeah, but I don't use that. I'm giving the same service regardless. But I know some people are very successful at doing that, you know.
What do you offer, like open houses, based
Oh,
on
for
time
open-
frame?
Yeah, if they want it, say, are you open to open houses? So I find that the ones that are tenant occupied do not want open houses, and the ones that are vacant, they don't care.
Of course.
So I don't do open houses, honestly. I don't do them myself, but anybody in the office, like Noah, I don't know if it's you, but somebody's doing an open house in one of my vacant properties this Saturday. And you know, I'm okay with them doing open house as much as they want. So it really depends on the client. Are you, because some of them don't like it. Some of them don't like strangers going to their house. Yeah, so it's just an option. And that's one of the, I have a questionnaire that I ask, and that's one of the questions, like, how do you feel about open houses?
Oh, in your listing presentation, you have like a questionnaire that you do?
Yeah, and I can share that with you if you want to send me an email. Yeah. Yeah.
So you haven't really found that open houses are successful in helping you sell it?
Not really. Yeah. Not
It's
really.
good to meet though.
But for,
people, right?
yeah, for
It's-
realtors though, like if a buyer comes in, like I used to do them, and I think it's good if you're looking for clients. Yeah, because they'll come in, they're not represented. If they like you, you build, rapport with them, and then say, hey, can I touch base with you next week? And let me help you find, if you don't like this one, I can help you find something else. And usually they're like, yeah, okay, and then, you can start that relationship, Because a lot of them will walk in without a realtor, so. That's a way you can get, a lot of them are just, curious neighbors, nosy neighbors. Yeah. 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 So, but yeah, but if I was like, if I didn't have anything and I didn't have any listings and I was hungry for stuff, like I do open houses, and stuff like that.
Yeah, you do bring up a great point. Anybody in the office can call anybody and we'll get you with an open house. Always.
Yeah.
We monetize like $1 million. We'll just give
I
you.
wouldn't mind sign up just to meet more people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because that could be one of your conversations for the day. If you say, okay, I'm gonna have 10 today, that's what, Open houses, you can have your 10 conversations.
That's a good point.
And, yeah.
Did you ever do an open house and, like, I don't want to say made it like a party because people might not want that, but made it like almost like an event?
Yeah,
Do you know anybody who's ever done that?
I know people that do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I might do that maybe for a certain property.
You guys are gonna say for a certain area that there's a lot of people in the area?
Yeah.
To say, hey, come in today, we're giving out like
Yeah.
popsicles, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not my style.
We're giving out drinks, we're giving out shots.
So there's $1 million listings.
For them, exactly. For like $1 million listing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, Jello shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that's what I have to do to sell the house, I would do it. If
Right.
I said, can you do this? I'll say, sure.
Give them Jello shots, they'll be drunk, and they might buy them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so. Yeah. What is that?
Time's up. It's time to go.
That's not me.
What was that?
I don't know. Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or?
I think I asked way too many.